If they really understood what you get for $32 million, they would not be touching that program. They would be supporting the program for sure. Hello, everyone. Most of you have probably heard that on June 5th, the EPA announced that it was going to be dismantling the Energy Star program. Most of that talk was about appliances, but we knew that it was going to be coming for the entire Energy Star program, not just the appliances. And so what I want to share with everybody today, what I want to share with you are just some information that needs to be considered when we think about the idea of the Energy Star program going away. And by the way, my background is having been involved with the Energy Star for Homes program since 1996 when the EPA rolled out the Energy Star for Homes program. So I was involved in the very beginning when it was just 4 grant partners that were given seed money to jumpstart the Energy Star program. I was at Arizona State University. We also had Conservation Services Group, and we had New Jersey Institute of Technology, as well as Florida Solar Energy Center. So those were the 4 of us that were all working together to get the Energy Star program up and running. And I worked with lots of the biggest builders in the country in the Phoenix area in Arizona, helping them to join the Energy Star for Homes program. And I will tell you that the Energy Star program was clearly incredibly valuable. And it was very useful to the builders because the builders, when I started Energy Star in 1996, had no incentives. And they were working in the Energy Star program because the Energy Star program was a label that they wanted to be affiliated with. They wanted that third-party stamp of approval from the federal government, because anybody can call their home energy efficient. But if it meets the EPA's criteria for energy efficiency, that's a whole nother thing. And the brand trust among consumers for the Energy Star level, the Energy Star label, is one of the highest consumer label recognitions that is out there at 90%. So the label itself has gained huge credibility, but it's gained its credibility not because the EPA has been dumping millions, hundreds of millions of dollars into advertising to raise the profile of this label. That wasn't done by EPA. It was done by those that were trying to market themselves as an Energy Star appliance manufacturer, or in the case of my clients, Energy Star builders. And the actual proposal, to be clear, on the 5th of June was not to eliminate the Energy Star program. That wasn't specifically what was targeted on the 5th of June. What the EPA basically said was they wanted to get rid of the Office of Atmospheric Protection, which is Energy Star sits underneath it. The Trump administration did try in the first term to eliminate Energy Star, saying it should be moved over to the private sector and only focus on things that were in its wheelhouse. Well, in fact, Energy Star is absolutely within the wheelhouse, although it's not obvious for EPA, although it's not obvious to most people. And that is that the Energy Star program is indirectly reducing pollution, which is what the EPA is all about, because they would reduce the amount of demand on power plants, which are, by and large, still fossil fuel operated. Even if it's natural gas, which is better, it's still, by and large, a fossil fuel industry. So EPA decided in the early 1990s, late 1980s, early 90s, that they could indirectly reduce pollution by reducing the amount of energy that we demand from our power plants. So indirectly, they could get at that. Now, again, the Energy Star program in our current situation wasn't specifically targeted, but we do need to speak in its defense, because if you are a free market champion, and there's an awful lot of people in Washington that are free market champions, me included, and a point of pride that I always took about my participation in support for the Energy Star program is that it's an incredibly successful public-private partnership. The EPA basically spends $32 million a year annually on the Energy Star program. That's not even even close to even a rounding error in the federal budget. And it's an extremely small piece of the EPA budget. But they're spending $32 million a year. And the people that I worked with, EPA Energy Star Homes, that was only a handful of people for all of the hundreds of thousands of homes that were built as Energy Star every year. And so $32 million a year basically leverages, and this is a study from EPA, $230. For every $1 the EPA spends, it leverages $230 in advertising, promotion, research, and development. So if you take $32 million and do the math, that equals $7.36 billion a year that the EPA leverages out of the private sector marketplace that is not tax dollars. And if there was ever a program that talked about the value of a tax dollar spent, the EPA is the absolute poster child. So in some respects, it might be a little naive to assume that there wasn't an intention to kill Energy Star, because I do believe that if those the lawmakers and even those in the EPA and the administration, if they really understood what you get for $32 million, they would not be touching that program. They would be supporting the program for sure. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that the Energy Star for Homes program is directly tied to the federal tax credits for building energy efficient homes, known as 45L. And the 45L tax program for a long time did not attach itself to Energy Star, but it did in 2022 with the Inflation Reduction Act, whether you like the name or not of the bill. Inside of that was making the 45L tax credit much, much better, because it was now tying it to the Energy Star, EPA's Energy Star for Homes program that has been so wildly successful over so many years. And so keep in mind that if the Energy Star program goes away, we no longer have the support, the mechanism for those tax credits. And of course, Congress is looking at getting rid of the 45L tax credits altogether. And so I wanted to speak in big terms to say that if the 45L tax credit goes away, Energy Star will no longer be necessary to tie it to that. But the Energy Star program itself, even if you were to get rid of the tax credits, which I don't think we should do, but even if you did get rid of 45L tax credit, you absolutely should not get rid of the Energy Star program as a public-private partnership. So hopefully this is something that will be taken to heart, the things that I've shared with everybody today. And if there's any questions that I can help with, please don't hesitate to reach out to me at Daran@learningedgellc.com.